Hi. So God has this thing about homosexuality. At least that's what an awful lot of people seem to believe. I can't see it myself, I must say. It seems to me that there are so many terrible things going on all around the world that I would have thought God had enough on his plate without having to worry about people's sexual behaviour. But there it is. And people do go on about it. There was this guy in the news recently, got the sack because he refused to serve a homosexual. All well and good, you might well say. But as he went out through the door, you could hear his plaintive cry. Do 2,000 years of Christian teaching count for nothing? Well now, I'm not a practicing Christian. I was brought up in a Christian family. I had two uncles in the church. I was a choir boy, and I served at Holy Communion. And quite a few members of my family are very devout Christians. But I'm more of an evidence-based man myself. But whatever, I'm quite sure that that kind of behaviour is the opposite of what Christ taught. And I certainly don't remember anything in the scriptures where Christ says, go forth and make life as miserable as you can for homosexuals. Then there was this amazing policeman. Now this was quite a few years ago, but it sort of stuck in my mind because it was so amazing. It was actually when AIDS first struck, this terrible scourge that was sort of devastating whole communities. And nobody knew what to do, nobody knew how to deal with it, nobody knew how to cure it. And this policeman, he was quite a senior policeman actually, he was some deputy constable of the county or something like that. He was on TV, and for some reason somebody asked his views. And this is what he said. He said that AIDS is the wrath of God, and these people with AIDS are swimming around in a cesspool of their own making. Well, now this, as you can imagine, generated quite a bit of discussion. And in fact, people were queuing up to kick him in the pants. But was he fazed? Not a bit of it. Next thing he says, am I to be persecuted for my Christian beliefs? I mean, I didn't just read that in the paper, I actually saw his lips move as he said it. Am I to be persecuted? Next thing he says, that all his views that he's expressing come straight from God. Didn't actually specify whether he'd actually heard God talking to him, which would suggest to me that he was a bit schizoid. Or whether he was just so secure in his views that he felt they must be inspired by God. Actually, I reckon that the idea of being persecuted for his Christian beliefs actually rather turned him on. I think he rather fancied that. But in the Old Testament, we're told that God wiped out the entire population of a city. Just massacred the lot. Because of homosexuality. Every single inhabitant of that city of Sodom was homosexual. Every single member. Gosh, that's quite remarkable, isn't it? That's truly amazing. Because there is a prevalence of homosexuality in the population. I don't know what it is, a few percent. And maybe there are regional variations, I have really no idea. But 100%, that must be really quite unusual. And I must say, if there was a city like that around now, I'd want to study it. Because there's something going on there, and there've got to be clues as to what actually causes homosexuality, which is something that we have very poor understanding of. And if we could nail down some of the causes of homosexuality, maybe we could do something to prevent it from arising in the first place. Nobel Prize waiting for somebody there. God-given opportunity, you might say. Or in this case, of course, a God-taken-away opportunity. So what is it about homosexuality that made God so angry that he massacred all these people? Well, it's unnatural. Unnatural. No, I don't think so. No. Unnatural. Natural means it occurs in nature. And homosexuality occurs in nature. As we've already said, there is a prevalence of homosexuality in the population. So it isn't man-made. So it is natural. So to say that it is unnatural is actually factually incorrect. So if you want to abuse homosexuals or homosexuality, you have to use a different adjective. You know, like horrendous or disgusting. Of course, that doesn't tell you anything about homosexuality. It just tells us what you think about it. So we can't say that it's unnatural. So what can we say? Well, how about it's contrary to God's will? Well, that's not actually very helpful, is it? Because God hates homosexuals because they're contrary to his will. A bit of a tautology, really, isn't it? So let's say contrary to God's law. That's not much better, really, is it? Contrary to God's plan. So God has this plan, and homosexuals ain't any part of it. Okay? So he hates them because they're not part of his plan. Right. A bit like Down syndrome, really. Because Down syndrome obviously can't have been part of his plan. So if God hates homosexuals because they ain't part of his plan, he must hate children with Down syndrome. Oh, God doesn't hate children with Down syndrome. Well, do you know, I didn't think he did. But you'll have to explain that to me. Because in terms of culpability, or if you want to use the S word, sin, there's not much to choose between them, is there? Because, I mean, if you've got Down syndrome, you can't wake up one morning and say, well, I'm fed up with being Down syndrome. I can't keep up at school. I've got all these health problems. I've got thyroid. I've got congenital heart disease. I'm fed up with being Down. I'm going to get myself a proper set of chromosomes and I'm going to be 46XY just like everybody else. Nice idea, but you can't do it. Similarly, as my old maths teacher used to say, if you turn out to be homosexual, you don't have any choice in the matter. You can't wake up one morning and say, well, I'm pissed off with being homosexual. People are giving me a hard time. All my friends are dying of AIDS. I'm going to give up all this gay stuff and I'm going to go straight as from now. Can't be done. So it's a little hard to see why, if God doesn't hate children with Down syndrome, and of course he doesn't, why does he hate homosexuals? God doesn't hate homosexuals. Oh, I see. It's not homosexuals that God hates. It's the homosexual act. Right. Okay. So it's okay to be homosexual. God doesn't mind that, provided you don't have sex. Right. Okay. Provided you don't ever have sex. Well, look, here's all these children just coming out of school here. Let's just have a word with one of them, okay? Hello. Hi. Can I just have a quick word? Yeah, I know your mum told you not to talk to strange men, but I just want to have a brief chat, okay? Now, how old are you? You're just 10. Right. Now, this is what I've got to say to you. In a few years' time, you're going to hit puberty. And when that happens, you're going to have this huge, mega, irresistible attraction to girls. No, I'm not joking. No, you'll see when it happens. And when it does happen, you're going to want to shag girls. You're going to want to shag them and shag them and shag them and shag them and shag them. More than anything else in the world. Yes, even more than chocolate. When you finish shagging that girl over there, you're going to want to go and shag that girl over there as soon as possible afterwards. Okay, now, this urge to shag girls is going to be with you for the rest of your life. It's never going to go away. I mean, it may tone down a bit when you get to your 80s and 90s, but it's going to be with you until the day you die. Right? Now, here's the thing. Under no circumstances may you ever shag any girl. Okay? I don't care if you shack up with her. I don't care if you love her to bits. I don't care if you marry her. You may not ever, under any circumstances, shag any girl. Absolutely forbidden. And if you do, you are in dead trouble. And I mean dead trouble. Okay? Well, obviously that's ridiculous, isn't it? But isn't that what we're asking homosexuals to do? Hello, hi. Just come meet my new friend here. Hello. Nice to meet you. Now, I gather you're homosexual. Well, that's okay. We're cool with it. We're not going to persecute you. We're not going to kill you. We're not going to burn you in hell. In fact, we're not going to discriminate against you in any way. I mean, you're a good fellow. I mean, we've heard great things about you. You wrote all that wonderful music. And you make history on TV really interesting and exciting. And you did a fantastic job painting that ceiling. And as for that invention of yours, what do you call it, that thing you invented? What do you call it again? Yeah, the computer. That's right. Yeah. We're really impressed with that. We think that could have real potential. So, you're okay. You can stick around. And we'll love and revere you. Provided that you don't ever have sex. And masturbation, I'm afraid that's out too, because God's not too keen on that either. What do you say? A bit what? A bit draconian? Do you think so? Unfair? Well, that's the deal. You can have sex with girls. You don't want to have sex with girls. Whoever in their right mind would ever dream of having sex with girls? Good question. Actually, I'll tell you the answer to that last question. I like to have sex with girls. In fact, this whole homosexuality thing gives me the creeps. Utterly horrendous. I mean, if some guy forced me to watch two fellas shagging, or if somebody came up to me, some fella came up to me in the changing room and tried to make a pass at me, I'd find that really horrible. But I know why that is. It's because I'm a member of the human species. And like the rest of my species, I am programmed. My hormones, my psychology are programmed to be attracted to the opposite sex. And by the same token, to be repulsed in that way by my own sex. I mean, it's got to be that way. I mean, think about it. Whoever would go through all that yucky, mucky, sticky, mucky business that you have to do to make babies if it wasn't for sexual attraction? I mean, the whole human race would have died out ages ago. And we'd have missed out on a whole load of fun. So I find homosexuality repulsive because, as a human, I'm programmed that way. But I really don't see why God should mind. The truth is, you know, we do rather tend to anthropomorphise God, don't we? That's rather a good word, isn't it? Yes, I must try and bring that into the conversation. What I mean is, when we think of God, we tend to think of him like a person, don't we? I mean, these emotions that we attribute to God, they're human emotions, aren't they? Anger, compassion, pity, sorrow, they're human emotions. As a matter of fact, they actually have a basis in human biochemistry. It's chemical changes in the brain that make us feel these emotions. But the most obviously human emotion, what Douglas Adams would have called the dead giveaway, is this aversion to homosexuality. Why should anybody who isn't human give a shit? I mean, you might meet an alien. Yeah, let's say you meet an alien. Yeah, got an alien for the furthest galaxy, okay? He's never seen a human being before. He knows nothing about us. Okay, he's completely different. He's green, he's got tentacles. And reproduction, he reproduces by binary fission. That is to say, sex doesn't have any part in his reproductive arrangements. If he wants to have a baby, he just sort of splits in two like an amoeba. This is what the physicists call a thought experiment. Anyway, so there he is, this amazing alien. And he lands his spaceship on Salisbury Plain and he looks around and he says, whoa, sees all this human activity going on. So he climbs up on a hill to try to get a better view. And we can go and join him and perhaps have a chat and explain a few things to him. You know, human race, what do you think? Pretty neat, eh? Pretty neat. He says, yeah, yeah. Because, of course, he understands English. He's got one of those Babel fishes in his ear hole. And so you sit up there with this alien, watching the human race going about its business. And then after a while, you turn to him and you say, I expect you've probably noticed that there are two different sorts. So he says, oh, right, two different sorts, eh? Okay. Oh, you mean big ones and little ones? No, that's not what I had in mind. All right. Ah, I know what it is. It's the colour. There are dark ones and light ones. Even more important than that. All right. This fuzzy stuff on top, is it? No. Now, I'll explain it to you. If you look down there very closely, look down there between the legs. Those are those two little things that come out the bottom of the trunk. Look between the legs, you'll see that some of us have got these little dangly things. Okay? And others haven't got these dangly things, we've got these bumpy things on the front of our chests. Oh. Right. Yeah. Well, I think I see what you mean. So, what's the significance of that? Oh, those are our two sexes. We have two sexes, male and female. Very, very important. All right. Oh, I say, look at those two over there. What on earth are they doing? That's how we make babies. Look at them go. Go on, give it to her, give it to her. What do you think, eh? What do you think? What do I think? What do I think? Well, well, it's a bit undignified, isn't it? And not very hygienic. Isn't that where that smelly brown stuff comes out? No. That's. If you look very closely, you'll see there are two quite separate holes. Totally different. All right. Okay. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness me. Oh dear. Look at that. Oh look, there's another couple over there. Look, they're all at it. What are you saying? Oh my God! Oh, I think I'm going to be sick. What's the matter? They're homosexuals, can't you see? They're both the same sex. Don't look! Don't look! Oh. Oh, I think I'm going to go down and kill them. They're going to burn in hell anyway. Oh. What are you laughing at? I'm terribly sorry. You should see the look on your face. Ah, dear. I say, if what you say is true, shouldn't somebody go down there and tell them that they're not going to make any babies by doing that? Ah, dear, it's really quite hard to take it seriously, isn't it, really? But there it is. It's so obviously a human thing, isn't it? And yet there it is. If you look at the agenda of any religion you care to name, the top 10 of the agenda, you will find it there. Don't kill each other. Don't nick each other's stuff. Show proper respect to your mum and dad. And by golly, if I catch you shagging someone your own sex, you are in deep shit. Doesn't make a lot of sense, does it?